Live from the Sono Entertainment and Recording Studios, the first podcast, TE Time. Me, Tiempo, your co-host, with my buddy here, Evan Bonifant, also known as the Great EB.
EB. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for having us here at Sono Entertainment. We are so happy. Tommy and I have been talking about doing a sports podcast for as long as we can remember. And we've been friends for what, 15 years now? 10 years now?
Going back a while.
Going back. And we've been talking about this for a solid decade. So it's finally coming to fruition. So thank you, Sweets, for making that possible. And thank you for Billy for having us.
Yep, all love.
So we're here to talk sports. When you break it down, we're here to talk sports. And what better time than now? Because we're coming into the Christmas Eve of the 52 weeks of the year.
Finally here.
Week one, baby.
Been a long summer. You know, Yankees have rode off, so baseball's pretty much done with until the postseason. But football season's here, man. We're super excited. You know, we got big Jets and Chargers fans here, so got some big seasons coming up. So
hopefully El Bell can put on for some of us. His fantasy football teams, but
we'll see what happens with Melvin Gordon, if he stays, if he goes.
And we'll see what goes on with Zeke, and then we'll get to that later in the show. But first thing we want to break down is the Week 1 power rankings. And to me, they're a little skeptical. I'm going to be honest. I think they got the Bears a little too high at 6, and this is going by the NFL Week 1 power rankings. Got the Bears at 6. I'm a little iffy on that. Seahawks, they don't have any wide receivers right now, so I'm a little iffy at them at 9. Steelers is another one of those squads where I'm a little iffy at 8. If you want to run through it, we got Pats at 1, Rams at 2, Saints at 3, Chiefs at 4, Eagles at 5, Bears at 6, Cowboys at 7, Steelers at 8, Seahawks at 9, and Chargers at 10. Yeah, I mean, the Colts take a huge plummet, going all the way down into the 20s, I believe. Lost Andrew Luck.
That was completely unexpected, but
out of left field.
I think Jacoby Brissett's going to step in there, feel nice. You know, he knows the system. You know, Frank Wright's an awesome coach. You know, I really don't think they're going to plummet that bad. I still think they're not going to win the division. You know, you got Deshaun Watson and the Texans, newly loaded QB in Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens there. But as far as the power ranks are going, Pat's Super Bowl champs, GOAT, Tom Brady, you know all that.
Gotta put them at 1.
Still think they're the best team. Rams and Saints, 2 and 3 can go either way. Obviously, one penalty call last year, either one of those teams could have been in the Super Bowl. So I'm not too mad about that. Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, probably one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. So
Damian Williams a little flying under the radar just a tad for where he could be. I think he's going to be a top 5 to top 10 running back this year. He's got the perfect offense for it, so I can totally see that coming to happen.
And you got a little depth there with Shady McCoy with the trade too. So
yeah, I could see Chiefs even popping in that second spot, to be honest. I mean, that's Rams, I think they're going to be a little shell-shocked when they get into the season this year, and it's not quite the high-flying offenses they had last year. Cooper Kupp coming back from ACL, I think is going to be a little slower at first, but, Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp. Yeah, they have a good team no matter what. They're just a high-powered offense.
I think the Chiefs have to be the team to knock off the Patriots. No one is far out and beyond. The Texans are going to be decent, but Chiefs got to step up and do it this year. And, Pats don't have Gronk. Pat Chung's out, suspended for the cocaine possession. They're...
Tell me, do you think the Chargers can step in and dethrone the Chiefs, the AFC West title, and/or the Patriots of the AFC as a whole? I mean, you think that's at all possible or feasible?
It's tough. I think Melvin Gordon's a big part of that offense. If he goes walking, then we've seen glimpses of Eckler last year. I don't know much about Justin James or
Jackson,
as you do. But obviously Bosa on the pass rush is one of the best in the NFL. If they can stay healthy on the defensive end, I think they have a top 5 defense. But again, I got to see what happens with Gordon first. Phillip Rivers is consistent as can be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be them and the Chiefs doing it out there. I don't think the Broncos and Raiders are upper echelon like they are in that division. So that'll be tough.
That'll definitely, I got to say, they have a lot of people, a lot of draft or analysts and as a whole got the Colts beating the Chargers Week 1, which is a little bit baffling to me because they're not only playing in L.A., granted that's an away game every week for the Chargers.
Yeah.
But you got Jacoby Smoking Brissett coming in, so I'm curious to see. Yeah, granted he signed that new contract, 2-year contract, but that'll be another one yet to be seen. A couple other notables that we have outside of the top 10 are the Browns at 15, Falcons at 16, and Jets at 22. I put the Jets in there because you got to talk a little Jets here. Browns are one of those teams that I think are a little overrated at the moment.
I agree.
I want to see what they do first. Obviously, you got to love Odell Beckham back there with Juice Landry, being that they're back there, the LSU wide receivers together once again. Like, that's exciting for the NFL as a whole. Baker Mayfield's got that cocky aura to him. I think he's going to get grounded a little bit, maybe by a jet or something. That's yet to be seen.
Week 2, we'll see.
Yeah. And I think the Falcons at 16 was a little skeptical because you got Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, passing to Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They got Mohamed Sanu still, if I'm not mistaken. So you got a lot of weapons there. Devontae Freeman, who's seemingly going on his 20th season right now.
I think, for me, I think the Falcons are going to end up in the top 10 of the NFL. That's
Agreed.
a high-flying offense. They got Ridley, Julio, Freeman, like you said. Austin Hooper is a nice tight end. And for the fact that Matt Ryan's playing 13 out of 16 games this year in a dome, that's what they're comfortable with. They don't have to be outdoor in the cold. That's when he has his worst games. So I think they're on their way for a top 5 offense this year, not only a top 10 team this year.
Little ironic they call him Matty Ice and he doesn't play well in the snow. So nonetheless, that's we'll get there. We'll see.
And honestly, I think the Browns are definitely overhyped this year. You got a bunch of egos there with Baker Mayfield, Juice Landry, Odell.
Yep.
You got all the allegations and stuff around Kareem Hunt. So
he's out 8 weeks.
Rookie head coach. Let's see how he pulls them all together and really makes it work.
You gotta love Nick Chubb. He had a good finish of the season last year.
Chubb's due for a big year this year.
Yeah, I agree. But once again, the Browns, I think, 15. I peg them back maybe just a handful of spots. They're kind of in that realm of where they should be. But, I mean, every time I turn on like ESPN or FS1, like, let me tell you, all they talk about is, Baker Mayfield chugged the beer at a game. Baker Mayfield did this. It's like, come on. I mean, let the kid breathe a little bit. I know he likes that and he wants that around him. But at the same time, they're setting them up for more or less failure. Because if they don't meet half the expectations that they're supposed to, then that team's going to implode on themselves. And I hate to say, you're looking at Freddie Kitchens being a second-year exit, And the worst 5 we have in the NFL as far as the power rankings go, at 28, we have the Redskins. 29, we have the Bucks. 30, we have the Bengals. 31, we have the Cardinals. And 32, we have the Dolphins. Now, I don't know about you, Tommy, but Bucks at 29, I like Bruce Arians as the coach there. First-year head coach there. Bruce Arians, I think, out of all the crop of head coaches that we've had this year, I got to say, Bruce Arians is who I'd want running my squad.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is going to be a breakout year for Jameis Winston. He finally has that offensive-minded coach that's really going to kind of put him to make him do his best game. I feel like there hasn't been any pressure on him. Dirk Cutter really didn't really know what he was doing down there. He was a defensive-minded coach. I do like, as much as I hate him as a head coach, Todd Bowles is a very good defensive coordinator. I think he's really going to improve that defense. And I know they're in a tough division with the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons, but I could see them being a 7-9, 8-8 team, but definitely not 29. Not at all.
That's low. And of these 4 last squads, the worst 5 of the league, if you will, all have new head coaches. So, with the Dolphins, we got Brian Flores, which I don't really know much about him, so I don't want to speak on his behalf. We got Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury. Him pairing up with Kyler Murray, I think is going to be nice. I think I don't know. The one preseason game that I watched to Kyler Murray, a lot of 5-yard dump outs. And I don't know if that's very sustainable in the league when you got lockdown corners, when you're throwing to somebody like Josh Norman on one side or somebody. So that's one of those yet to be seen. Who do we have at? Zach Taylor for the Bengals. And then once again, Bruce Arians at 29 with the Bucks. So those 4 teams, which one do you think is going to be finishing? Which those 4 teams, which one do you think is going to have the better finish towards the end of the year?
I was down on the Cardinals at first, but I think if Kingsbury can really get Kyler Murray going, you still have Larry Fitzgerald there. David Johnson should get back to his regular form now that he has, an offensive-minded coach that's, can feed him the ball and get him going. Still got the burner John Brown out there. So, I think the Bengals are going to be the worst team in the NFL. Yeah. Right there with the Dolphins. I don't like the coaching hire. They hired QB coach off of Sean McVay's tree. What has Sean McVay proved? Goff's decent, but they haven't won anything yet. So I think that was a reach for the Bengals. And to be throwing a rookie head coach to Dalton, who probably knows more about quarterbacking than this guy does. So I don't know. That's going to be interesting, especially in that same division with the Browns, Ravens, Steelers. I don't think they stand a chance.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I guess that'll be one yet to be seen. Like you said, with the Cardinals, I love that David Johnson's coming off a year from he had a full year playing with an injury. Now he's off of it. So I think he's going to be a little more comfortable and confident with his motion.
Definitely, going into last year too, they were losing in every single game. So where is he getting his touches from other than those dump off passes?
Exactly.
I feel like if they can do some RPOs and, Kyler Murray can do options with him, it's pretty much a match made in heaven. There's two speedsters there, can mix it up a little bit.
Absolutely agreed. 100% agreed. And what do we got here? I think we got a preliminary communication in regards to Melvin Gordon being traded. So we got the Chargers talking to another team in regards to trading Melvin Gordon. So how do you feel about this whole contract and Zeke's contract and running backs holding out, even dating back to last year at Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, I don't agree with it, man. It's you get paid top dollar to perform, and you're making millions of dollars regardless. But at the same time, I do agree with them. It's an injury risk every single year. Nothing's guaranteed. So I think in the future, a lot of these backs are going to be wanting less money on the contract, but more money guaranteed in that kind of sense.
I got to say, running backs are an anomaly in a sense because they get the hell beaten out of them. I mean, left, right, and center. And to put them on the same pay scale or the same contractual structure that they put quarterbacks, they put offensive tackles, they put pretty much everyone under the sun under, especially for first rounders, the 4-year, 5th-round option, or the 5th-year option, I should say. That sucks because you got a running back, and by the 5th year, they're well into their prime, and they've been,
beaten up, and you already got it's like Saquon. By the time he gets off his rookie contract, he's going to be beat half to hell. A
shell of himself.
He's still going to have maybe 4 or 5 productive years after that, but he's never going to be like he is now, and he's not making that money he should be earning now.
Unfortunately. So that is one of those, I can see where Zeke and Melvin Gordon are coming from, but until the NFL Players Association steps in and restructures more running backs more than anything, because I find that other positions have the shelf life a little longer. I mean, you can look at quarterbacks with 20 years deep, so they have, it's just different. So fortunately for running backs, just the way the hands dealt to him, I'm sorry. So, someone like Melvin Gordon, I mean, come on, they offered you $10 million. You've never completed a full 1,000-yard season. And trust me, I love Melvin Gordon. I got a jersey hanging in my closet of Melvin Gordon. That's one player that I love watching week in and week out. But they offered you $10 million. Like I said, you've yet to complete a full you had one 16-game season and one 1,000-yard campaign. I mean, $10 million to me is right in that ballpark. I mean, maybe it's easy. I'm biased a little bit because I'm obviously a fan of the base or a fan of the association and the franchise. So obviously I'm going to side with them at the end of the day. But don't get me wrong, I would love to see Melvin Gordon sign something, bring it up to $11 million just to make him happy. And then now we apparently got some notifications that apparently Zeke may be signing a 6-year, $90 million deal, which breaks down to about $15 million, which would put him in the highest paid. Yeah, exactly. So $1 million more, if I'm not mistaken, than Gurley. Which I gotta say, I think the Rams were 2 years too early on that because I think Gurley's never going to be able to
see what that knee was looking like.
Exactly.
And get a couple. He has had monster years, but at the same time, that knee was a problem coming out of college. So you're investing a lot of money into something that you're unsure of.
Yep.
To hit home a little for me, Le'Veon Bell sat out that whole year. Could have got potentially more money from the Pittsburgh Steelers that he declined, and he decided to come with the Jets to get more guaranteed money.
Yep.
I was on his side because why shouldn't he be paid more than a normal running back when he's catching 80 balls a year? He's a receiver and a running back, so he's more valuable to your team than a normal running back and a normal receiver. He's kind of both.
Agreed.
So,
but you put him in the side-by-side comparison. At least he played his full 5 years under his rookie contract. They knew the franchise a season or two. I'm Zeke too.
Yeah.
So you can't Zeke jump in 2 years. I mean, he's got a full year and then some, and then the 5th-year option. So to me, Zeke, it's a little smack in the face for the Cowboys franchise.
Especially all the legal stuff and everything that's gone through with him. It's like he's been such a headache, but he has been
a
with
little
all
bit.
the
And
off
Jerry
the field
Jones,
stuff.
call him for what he is, but he's been there, paid every dollar, put his name on the line to get him pretty much clear for the most part, and to Zeke to turn around and be like, "Oh, I want to get paid in my 4th." It's like, come on, dude. I mean, we get it, we understand it. You want your bag, do your thing. Wait your turn. That's the way I say. Wait your turn.
And interesting in that they extended a lineman today for 5 years, $50 million.
Leo Collins. Yep.
They're running out of money. They still have Dak going on to his last year of his contract. They have to pay Zeke. You just traded a number 1 pick or 1st-round pick for Amari Cooper. You're gonna have to pay him, or what was the point of trading for him? So they got some tough decisions to make. You know, they re-signed Gregory on the defensive line, or DeMarcus Lawrence, excuse me, not Gregory.
Jalen Smith as well.
Jalen Smith they extended, so.
Which that's another one that they need to pay him. They went and got Leighton Vander Esch last year, so you think that's a little premature, if you will?
Yeah.
I don't know. But Jalen Smith is a great talent, don't get me wrong. He's another one that came in the league with a little issue here or there, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he liked smoking the ganja a little bit too much. But what are you going to do? You know, that's at the end of the day, it's money going in, money going out. But it's unless it was like baseball where you don't have the cap, you can just pay as much as you want, pay whatever you want, get your players.
You can make $440 million like Mike Trout.
Is that right? Is that what he was in 440?
Whatever it was is ridiculous. Kind of going back to those power rankings though, I feel a little disrespect from these Jets power rankings. You know, I'm not
of course you do.
Coming off of 4-12 last season. You know, Sam Darnold's first year in the league. You know, he was out 4 weeks with an injury, so I feel like he didn't really get a grasp. But if you look up his last 4 or 5 games of the season, he was the top 3 ranked quarterback in the NFL. So I think, you know, the help of a maturing Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa should be back full year. You got Le'Veon Bell and Ty Montgomery in the backfield.
Ty Montgomery, not to be slept on. I think he is going to be such a relief when you get your first teamers to sit down, give him a break. I think Ty Montgomery is going to be picking balls left and right. I think he's going to run. He's going to be, I think, everything you want and then some. He's going to do every single facade of that offense that they want him to.
And don't be surprised if he fills in for a suspended Chris Herndon at tight end for a few packages, because he's a big boy. He could take some blocks and get out there in the flat and make something happen. Defense was looking good. Big loss to Avery Williamson at linebacker. You know, I was really pulling for him to, you know, break out with the other linebacker.
But you got to love, what's his face, though, back there? Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams. Who was the other guy?
Jamal Adams is, if not the best safety, top 3 safeties in the NFL. If Marcus May can come back healthy, you know, he hasn't played a full season yet, but he was a stud at Florida. You know, he's had glimpses, but again, he just has to stay healthy. Quinnen Williams is...
you gotta love the dude. Big Bear. You gotta love that dude.
I think just him taking up 2 dudes up the middle at nose tackle is going to open up stuff for Henry Anderson and for Leonard Williams to finally break out, because that was the first overall pick that we're still waiting for, you know, him to fully blossom. But
if it's just me, if we're going to go safety talk right here, I'm sorry, but Derwin James is the best in the league. First year All-Pro, Pro Bowl. That dude did everything and then some. He had over 100 tackles. He had 3.5 sacks. He had 3 interceptions. You put him on the field anywhere as you want, he could do it. I mean, I think it was at the end of the year, the Chargers were running, what was that, 6 DB set, playing against the Baltimore Ravens, trying to keep Lamar Jackson under, you know, in the realm. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. If you're going to go, you know, which 33 would you take? I may go Derwin James on that one.
It might be a hometown favorite for that one.
Well, you know, it's
both studs.
Both sides. I mean, Jamal Adams was doing it for just a couple clips longer, but we'll see. I mean, it's unfortunate Derwin James sustained that injury. We won't see him back until November, I want to say. But what a hell of a talent. I think to me, FSU is DBU. Yeah. You can argue Ohio State. You can argue LSU. To me, when you're thinking about DBs, they're coming out of Florida State. Yeah. You know, you got Deion Sanders. You got Jalen Ramsey, the GOAT. You know, all those good. You know, but that's a discussion for another day. So I got a couple things I want to run by you. Some over and unders, kind of going off of last year and/or in some cases 2 years ago. Tell me what you would think on this one. Last year, Aaron Donald had 20.5 sacks. Do you think that's going to be over or under?
I think I'm going to go under with that one. I think that, you know, this league's now really adapting to this high-flying, fast-paced offense that I think teams are going to adjust to the pass rush and try, you know, more screen passes, more options to try and prevent these sacks. He had a remarkable season, don't get me wrong. He's the best pass rusher in the NFL, or, you know,
defensive player.
Besides him and Khalil Mack, I think, are the 2 best pass rushers. So
agreed.
20, that's pushing it. I can maybe see him at 17, 18 sacks, but that might be...
It's still pushing it nonetheless, yeah. Next up, we have Pat Mahomes going 5,000 yards. Over or under? That's a tough one because we don't have enough clip or footage on him.
What did he end up with last year?
Just north of 5,000. I think it was, 50 or 5,100 kind of thing, or 5,100 kind of thing. But, I mean, to me, I'm going under on that one. I think defenses are going to game plan a lot more efficiently for him. They're going to know how to contain him. Pat Mahomes, I mean, he's going to be running for MVP next year. You know, that's just the way, you know, you look at it. He's got all the skill sets, you know.
Don't get me wrong. Kareem Hunt's a good back. You know, you got to try with the Damian Williams now. So.
I think LaShawn McCoy is going to be a safety valve for him. You're going to dump him off, let him go for 15 yards here, there, and everywhere. Don't get me wrong, I think the Chargers are going to still win the AFC West, but that's just me. So moving along now, another Pat Mahomes one. Over under 50 touchdowns.
Gotta go over.
Over?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going. Yeah. I think 54 this year. I'm going to say
54. Where'd you just pull a number out of the sky and just to say?
I just think the Kansas City rushing game is going to be a question this year. I think they're going to be slinging it all over the field. You know, maybe some of those touchdowns stop if they're up beating teams big, but I'm expecting him to be, you know, MVP next year. So
that's fair. No, it's absolutely fair, and it's one of those. I'm going to go under on that one. That 50 touchdowns. That's a number. I think the last dude was Peyton Manning, and before that was Tom Brady. Exactly. So that's a tough number to get to. I can see him at 40, no problem, with a low touchdown interception ratio. So, but I'm gonna go. I can see him at 45. If you're going 54, I'm going 45.
I think it all depends on how the receivers and tight end play. You know, I think Kelsey's the best tight end in the NFL. I think Tyreek Hill's one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL when healthy. So
when healthy and on the field, of course.
Yeah.
Is there any suspensions looming for him, or does he look like he's got a week 1 start? Right?
I think he's good to go.
Next up, Le'Veon Bell. We haven't seen him in 2 years. I have him. I think I set the bar at 1,500 total scrimmage yards.
Okay.
Over under.
I'm gonna go over.
You're gonna go over on that one.
I think Le'Veon Bell is gonna be the focus of that offense. I think he's gonna get 80, 90 catches. I think he's gonna rush for over 1,200 yards. So, I think that's gonna be a big. I see the Jets maybe going 9-7, maybe 10-6, seeing how their schedule plays out. You know, they got a lot of tough games in the beginning. They got the Patriots twice in the first 7 weeks of the season, I believe. Week 2 is Monday night versus the Browns. So they got some games to prove themselves early. So that'll determine how the season's going to go.
Absolutely. You know, and that's another one I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to go over on that 1,500. It's Le'Veon we're talking. You got yourself a running back, wide receiver threat every time he's on the field.
Granted, he sat out for a year. That's a year of fresh legs that he didn't play. So I think, I follow him on Instagram. That dude works out literally all day. So he's in shape. I know he's ready to go. But interesting, he didn't play a single snap in the preseason. I would have liked to maybe see him for a couple series or two just to get hit by another team and kind of see what he did. But I get it. He's trying to protect himself.
No, of course. You know, and it is what it is. But he's another one. Secured his bag. He's ready to perform. And if he doesn't do 1,500, I think that's one of those, looking back at what he's done in the years past, 1,500 was surpassed by week 13, 14.
Yeah,
so that shouldn't be a problem. But being it's a new offense with the Jets, I think it's going to be a little more challenging for him to, get the ball when he needs to, kind of know him and Darnold to kind of create that chemistry, if you will.
I expect a big leap from Darnold this year, but he's only going to be as good as this offensive line is. You know, we picked up the guy from Oakland. I think he's going to be a good fit, Assembly. We traded or signed him out of retirement, Matt Khalil, so that's a big addition to the center, but still some weak spots there. So if they can contain, it's going to be a tough matchup week 1 versus Buffalo. You know, they got a mean pass rush. They just added the guy, who they draft, the Bills, the pass rusher.
Was one of the Clemson linemen. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I was going to say Shaq Lawson, but I think he might have been a pick 2 years ago by them or something random. But no, I know who you're talking about. Which Clemson, by the way, 3 defensive tackles coming out in the first 20-something rounds.
Giants got one.
Yeah,
see what he does there.
I think he's going to be something special for them. So here comes the fun part. So, everyone's got, all these teams have the quarterback, running back, wide receiver duos. Tell me, who do you think is the best trio?
I'm going to give you 2 because I kind of was torn between them. I think the Saints have one of the best QB, running back, wide receivers, and Drew Brees, the aging legend, unstoppable in the dome every year. Alvin Kamara's top 3 running back in the NFL, and I think Michael Thomas, if not the best, maybe second to Hopkins, Julio in that discussion. Other one I had might be an interesting one this year, and I want to see how this plays out. I'm going to go with the Steelers with Big Ben, James Conner, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think James Conner proved that he's a real NFL back last year. We saw the glimpses when Le'Veon was suspended. And I think Juju really emerged last year. Dude's only 22 years old still. Went off a big season without AB there. So I'm expecting big things from the Steelers this year. I think they're going to win the division. So
you think they are going to win the division, yeah? Well, it's Well, James Conner last year, he had AB pulling a lot of defenders, and a lot of attention was going AB's way. So I think that helped with James Conner a little bit. I mean, I'm pulling for the kid. I picked him second round in our fantasy draft, so I'm really hoping that he does kind of similar what he did last year. Just north of 1,000 yards, rushing. If he puts down 9-10 touchdowns, I'm down with that. But I think you're 100% on the money with that. I think that the Big Ben's Big Ben. You know what we're gonna get with Big Ben. But Juju Smith-Schuster and James Conner, it's almost kind of like every year they just pull kids from the crops. And here they are. They're playing great ball.
They got a young receiver. Keep an eye on this name, Dre Washington. Mm-hmm. He's going to be their slot receiver this year. I think Juju's going to pull a lot of coverage towards his way, and it's going to open up the middle of the field for not only him and the tight end there, Vance McDonald.
Yep. Well, and another trio that I would love to it pains me to say because my father's such a big fan, but the Dallas Cowboys. He's one of those, Dak Prescott, he's one of those middle to, I don't want to quite call him a middle tier, but he's middle to top tier quarterback. Zeke Elliott's top tier when he plays. But let me tell you, Tony Pollard, I think that kid's going to he's doing pretty well. He had a great preseason campaign. I think he's going to come out. I don't know if Zeke's going to be playing for week 1 yet. If they get the deal done in the next 24 or 48 hours, I'm sure he's going to play come Sunday. Personally, I think Tony Pollard would be a great fallback if it came down to it. And Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper played great. He had great chemistry with Dak from seemingly the get-go. What was that, the one game into 3 touchdowns in a Thursday night game or so? So it's definitely that's one trio that you always got to keep an eye out for.
I thought about them, and what I would compare to them is kind of the LA Rams, where you got a young QB in Goff, which I think Goff's a little better than Dak, both still kind of unproven, but then you got the big studs at running back with Gurley and Zeke.
Yep.
And then,
But the thing is with the Rams is who would you put as the wide receiver one?
That's what I had right here.
Yeah.
It's either Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods. They're both very good, and you still got even
Cooper Kupp, and that's another one. So that's
there's
hard
a lot of spreading the ball around too. So,
and if this guy was on the field, obviously I'd put my Chargers up there because you got Phillip Rivers, who's played 16 games a season for 16 years, and I think he's on a 210 game start streak.
Yeah. Longest active in the NFL. Yeah.
Longest active currently, correct? Right. I think he's going to be passing Eli Manning actually in a week or two because I think he
shouts to Geno Smith.
Shout out Geno Smith on that one. Melvin Gordon's not playing, so that's a big downer there. But let me tell you, Keenan Allen, that kid is a stud. That dude he can catch balls left, right, center, and that's another one that I wish that Melvin Gordon's on the field so there'd be a viable case for the Chargers. But until that time, I don't think Austin Eckler can quite live up to Melvin Gordon's bill. I think he's going to be kind of a little bit more like a Ryan Matthews. What Ryan Matthews was 5-6 years ago before he got sent off to the Eagles. So that's another one. But that's one of those stables. They always just have someone coming up next. So the next man up's mentality in that running back committee.
So speaking of the Chargers and Melvin Gordon, I got an update from Pro Football Talk here that says the Chargers are looking for a 1st and 5th round pick in return for Melvin Gordon. Your thoughts?
Fair. No, that's absolutely fair. I mean, they went up 2 spots to grab him over Houston in 2015 or 2016 it was. I'm drawing a blank on the year. So definitely a 1st round pick. I mean, I wouldn't mind a player. I mean, it would have been great if they traded for, swap Melvin Gordon for Jadeveon Clowney last week, but it didn't happen. It is what it is. I thought Jadeveon Clowney would have slided in perfectly in that defensive line. 1st and a 5th, you said? Mm-hmm. For next year, I'm assuming. Yeah. Well, that's definitely the first.
What team do you think this is, though? What team is looking for a running back right now?
I saw a handful of teams that could potentially play that.
The Colts, possibly.
Colts, Bills, Texans are like the 3 teams that I've seen pop up left and right. But Texans, I think they're imploding on themselves a little bit. They're stocking up, which is great.
Yeah, I didn't understand that trade with Kenny Stills and that was a little odd when they already have Kuti and Will Fuller and Hopkins and. Yeah. Granted, Lamar Miller did tear his ACL and he's out for the year, so I think Duke Johnson is a glorified receiver at running back. But I think they really should have got McCoy. I think that would have been a perfect fit there. Yeah, veteran running back that'll take 1st and 2nd down, and then you put Duke Johnson in 3rd down, catch some passes. But I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I don't know what team would really is desperate for a running back.
Not any one team because everything's moving to that 3-headed monster, which is just fine because it's less of a workload on that one running back. Back in the day, you can give Bo Jackson 32 carries and he'd kill it. You can't quite do that anymore. No. Times are changing a little bit. Which is better because now you get these CTEs and you got injuries left and right, so you want to make it safer for the player, and what better way than having a shared committee there? Exactly. I'm all for that. It does suck for those the Melvin Gordons don't want to get paid or whoever, but what are you going to do? So finishing off with this, let's go ahead and do our weekly picks. So I say we go back and forth. We pretty much just picking a game.
Yeah, keep track though. So
keep track. I'll keep track. Don't worry. We'll talk about this next week. I'll give you the heads up. Let's go ahead and start on Thursday, or go in order.
I'm Thursday night game, Packers Bears at Soldier Field. I think I'm gonna go with the Packers on this one. Bears, I saw just today, Trey Burton might not play. It's a big tight end, not only catching the ball at the backfield, blocking asset. Rookie running back, I'm very high on David Montgomery. Packers have a much improved defense. So I think just Aaron Rodgers, just not having Mike McCarthy there, is going to play more freely and be back to the Aaron Rodgers that we all know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see how Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers assimilate or coagulate, if you will. Yeah. I'm curious to see how they do together because, it came out that Aaron Rodgers was playing the play call and the line of scrimmage last minute kind of thing. Kind of throwing his old coach under the bus there. So I'm with you. I'm curious to see how that goes. So I guess I'll rock out with the Bears this week. Moving on, Redskins, Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Redskins, who's even starting at quarterback this year?
Case Keenum.
He's starting off, that's right.
All that smack that, what's his name, talked at the draft by the Giants passing on him. He didn't even beat out Case Keenum at training camp. So
probably better for his development, give him a year to kind of get his feet wet in the NFL and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Moving on, Bills, Jets. I have a feeling you're going to go with the Jets on this one.
Yeah. Home opener. Crowd's going to be psyched. Le'Veon Bell out on the field for the first time. I can't wait myself to go to week 2 because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Electricity in the stadium. But
yep.
I think, I think Josh Allen's right on there with Sam Darnold. I think they're both very good young quarterbacks. But when it comes down to the weapons around them, I think that the Jets.
Agreed. I think they bring a little more to the table. Where I think Josh Allen, dude's huge. He's going to be another Big Ben type player who's just going to bum rush and rush for a bunch of yards and throw for a bunch of yards. He's got an arm, but
I think you'll see a big day from Quinnen Williams too. I think his rookie debut, he's going to get a sack and a half and maybe even force a fumble. So
he's one of those dudes you can't help but love. That dude's he's a funny guy. He's always got something great to say. Just very quotable, if you will. Moving along, Chiefs Jaguars. This is my pick. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Ravens Dolphins. I love the Kenyon Drake aspect.
I think the Dolphins are a dumpster fire right now.
But I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. I think Lamar Jackson's going to run for over 100 yards.
Unless
I can see Mark Ingram kind of coming in with a touchdown.
Fitzmagic's going to come out and throw for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns, and we're both going to be wrong.
Or he throws for 4 interceptions, and Josh Allen steps in the second half and throws 3 touchdowns, and they get a W. So that's another one. So I'll give you I'll keep it with the AFC East for you, and you can go ahead and have the Dolphins for that one.
Nah, I'm okay. Yeah. All right, so next one we got this I think is maybe one of the games of the week. You still got the Pats and Steelers on Sunday night. Big Monday night matchup. I believe it's the Texans and Saints. It's going to be a good game too. But this game's interesting. Chiefs Jaguars down in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Chiefs are on the hype. From last season. I think Mahomes continues to pick up right where he left off. I think the Jaguars have a little more aggression this year. I don't think they're going to roll over like they did last year. Last year was definitely a disappointing season for them. I think Fournette is going to have a breakout year, but I think at the end of the day, Chiefs offense is just going to be too much for, Blake Bortles.
Jaguars
Blake Bortles, I almost said. Nick Foles.
But to that point, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars defense could potentially put a little bit of a damper on the Chiefs. Where last year the Chiefs came out and they were putting up big numbers on the Chargers. I can see the Jaguars defense coming out and pushing back on them a little bit. That's yet to be seen, but I'm with you. I think
I think that Jaguars can kind of give them a punch in the mouth to start the season and be like, you guys aren't the holy grail.
As what you think you are. So you're taking Chiefs on that one?
Yeah.
You got the Chiefs. So moving along, we got the Titans and Browns in Cleveland. This is one of those games I would love to see the Titans win week 1 just to kind of put Baker Mayfield and that team in their place.
I do too, also because the Browns
more than
play
anything
the Jets week 2. So.
So you can't get them starting 0-2. But it's hard to pick against Baker because he does have that swagger he brings to the field. You got to love that about him. So I'm going to go with the Browns on that one as much as it pains me as well.
I'm with you, but I think, the Titans just don't have the defense to stop that offense. It's just, and plus Myles Garrett rushing on a already underperforming Marcus Mariota. I think this is last year in Tennessee. I think they're moving on after that. He just hasn't proven himself. So
and a team that loved him before the draft,
Chargers,
San Diego Chargers. Yeah. So moving along here, we got Rams, Panthers, and Charlotte. Who do you have? It's a pretty good matchup. It's for what it is. Cam Newton coming off that shoulder surgery. Moore, I think, is going to have a great campaign this year. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, run CMC. Like, that dude is he's a special player.
I think I'm going to take the Panthers at home.
Yeah.
I think, the Rams might have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. I think the Panthers are going to be, hungry this year. Cam Newton has something to prove this year. Don't be surprised if Cam Newton's not in the MVP discussion by the end of this year. I think with the addition of Curtis Samuel, CMC is a beast out the backfield. Greg Olsen, hopefully he can stay healthy for a full year.
Same with Luke. Kuechly can stay healthy all season
he's
too.
The heart of the defense.
He really is.
Like I said, I don't know. Week 1 on the road, Rams got to travel all across the country to get to South Carolina, so we'll see.
So you are taking as a reiteration, the Panthers.
Yep.
So it's only fitting that I get this game, the Colts Chargers, and this is going to be played in LA. I mean, come on now, it's going to be the Chargers winning that game. I could even go as far as saying this final score is going to be 21-12. I feel very confident with the Chargers. Philip Rivers is going to come out running and gunning, not running because that dude runs slower than molasses. But he's going to come out. He's going to perform. I think Austin Eckler is going to have a touchdown. I think Justin Jackson's going to have a touchdown. And I think Hunter Henry is going to start showing himself and kind of putting himself back in that tier 2 of tight ends. So I'm going Chargers on that one.
Cool. Quick little sidebar. Rams and QB Jared Goff have agreed to a 4-year extension.
4-year extension? How many? How
doesn't
much?
doesn't say the money yet. But
interesting.
So I guess they're full in with him.
They're going to have to. Hopefully he has a good season, and last year was an anomaly. Who do you have in this 49ers-Buccaneer game playing down in Tampa?
This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go the Buccaneers. I love Jimmy G over Jameis Winston, but again, coming off that ACL injury, I just don't know what to expect from them. I hear all this hype about the 49ers, but I think the Bucs, like I said in the rankings, I think they're going to be slept on this year. They're going to have a decent defense. I think Jameis Winston and Bruce Arians are a good match together. So.
Yep. I mean, that's fine, man. If the 49ers win, I'm going to be saying Nicky Mullins all day. That's all it is. I think, shout out Adam Shine. Shine on, baby. Nicky Mullins. All right, so we got Giants-Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. That's a low-key tough one because the Giants on paper don't look like they're going to be that good because you still got Eli starting. You got Saquon doing pretty much everything. Sterling Shepard, is he wide receiver 1? Is he wide receiver 2? But I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys on that one. I think Dak's going to do just fine. I think the Giants are going to be a step behind the entire game. They're going to be playing catch-up from the get-go. I could be totally wrong here, but, that's just,
I think Eli is going to be on his ass the whole game.
I agree. The offensive line's not looking great necessarily.
Then I think Dallas is just going to stack the box on Barkley, too, and, they already don't have Golden Tate for the first 4 weeks. Sterling Shepard isn't a number 1 receiver, so, unless they can get Ingram out in the open, Dallas secondary is a little iffy, but their front seven's monstrous. So that's an easy one there.
That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. Who do you have in this Lions-Cardinals game playing out in Glendale, Arizona? Kyler Murray's first start.
I think I'm going to go with the Lions. I think maybe the bright lights might be too much in his first career start. I think Kyler Murray is going to have a decent year this year. Not knocking him, but I think Matt Patricia and that defense is going to come up with some good schemes for Kyler Murray to, send a lot of blitz packages and coverages that he hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the greatest preseason, but again, definitely a stud out there. I think he's a special player, but again, we're going to have to see.
And the 5-yard dump offs may just work for him, but I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to be a great game. I think if any game to play, I think that's going to be a perfect game for Kyler Murray to come out to. Lions don't necessarily have the greatest defense, but they're stout at times. They have their moments. So I think that's going to be a really good gateway or segue into the NFL. And who knows, maybe he ends up bossing up and throws 5 touchdowns and rushes for 2. I mean, that's some, Jalen Hurts for Oklahoma the numbers there, but
6 touchdowns.
We'll do 20 for 23 passing or whatever it was for 300 yards in the first half or some ridiculous thing. But anywho, moving on to our 2 primetime games, we have Steelers-Patriots Sunday night played in Foxborough. I mean, come on now, Patriots. I mean, I don't. That's enough said. Tom Brady, 21st start. Blow the whistle all you want on that one. That's absolutely fine. Yeah.
As a Jets fan, I've watched many Patriots starts this season, disappointed because it's not my favorite team and they just won a Super Bowl most likely. But
they start off slow.
New England is typically off to a slow start in these games. They're not all in sync. I think the loss of Gronkowski is a big blow to them.
Yeah.
I just saw N'Keal Harry went in the
IR, and they got Demaryius Thomas to come back now for it. They re-signed. They had him take a pay cut to come back to play.
Granted, Sony Michel is going to be, a big factor in this game. I think the Steelers' defense is much improved. Devin Bush out of Michigan, I think, is going to be
that kid's a stud.
Maybe the defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Even TJ Watt is another one. I think it's a good person to come under. The two of them are going to grow together exponentially, and it's gonna be wonders to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. But I got to go Patriots on this one.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the last but not least,
there's 2 Monday night games this week.
Is there 2 Monday night?
Yeah.
Let's see what I'm missing here. Go ahead and take that first one. Who do you have in that?
Texans Saints in the Superdome. I think I'm gonna go with the Saints here.
Yeah.
I think that's a raucous crowd on a Monday night for opening day. Still got to see how Deshaun Watson comes back. But I think the Saints are rolling right to the Super Bowl this year. Breeze is going to be on fire. Michael Thomas is probably going to lead the league in receiving yards and touchdowns. Alvin Kamara is a monster. So I think that's going to be a shootout either way. You're probably looking at like a 38-34 type game, which I'd love that.
That's a great Monday night game to start the season. Now, I don't know why they put this game as a Monday night game.
It's because everyone's going to be sleeping by then.
Everyone's going to be sleeping, and this is, I think, more of John Gruden and Mike Mayock being the driving forces in this one. But we have Oakland and Denver Monday night, 10:20 p.m. here on the East Coast. Like you said, everyone's going to be sleeping. That's not going to be very enthusiastic game, to say the least. It's going to be a divisional game, which is fun to watch. You gotta love that much of it. But quite frankly, that's a tough. I wouldn't even know who to pick. They're both kind of in the middle to me. I don't know what Oakland's going to be bringing to the table. I think Derek Carr could have a good season. He just 3 years removed. He was in the MVP talks. And he's got Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown, as we all know, the diva and the saga behind it all is just a little pain in the ass.
Well, I got to cut you off for a second.
Talk to me.
Rams quarterback Jared Goff is expected to sign a 4-year extension worth more than $32 million a year.
Which would put him up there with Russell Wilson as the highest paid.
Wow.
Wow. That's a big pill to swallow. I don't think he's quite worth it, but that's another.
Off of one Super Bowl loss, that's a lot of money to be given out to a quarterback.
Well, especially when he came out into the league, they were everyone was so unsure of him. Oh, he's not ready, and maybe it was because Fisher was underutilizing him. But that was another one of those players coming out there. Oh yeah, Jared Goff is gonna be great. Not quite. You pump the brakes on. He had a horrible rookie season. So sophomore year where Carson Wentz was lighting up the field and they're really kicking themselves for picking Jared Goff one overall. He had a good last season, but I don't know. That's more like you said, but like you said earlier in the podcast, I'm not quite convinced on Sean McVay. They've got these coaching trees that are here, there, and everywhere. Sean McVay is a great talent and people love him. You can talk to him, that kind of thing.
I feel like he almost knew he was going to be outmatched and outcoached in that Super Bowl. Like, I feel like he might have even been intimidated by Bill Belichick and maybe even tried to do too much, over analyzing plays and all this stuff where it's just keep it easy, do what you were doing the whole season. You guys made it this far. And
they should have lit that Super Bowl up. It should have been the 49ers playing the Chargers in the 94 Super Bowl. Yeah, it should have been a lit up Super Bowl.
That shouldn't have been 13-3 with that offense.
No, absolutely not. And the one big play was the Gronk down to the one. It was a little bit of a headache and a little bit of a nuisance to watch, to not only see the Patriots win their umpteenth Super Bowl, but to see in that mannerisms where I couldn't tell you what the Rams average on offense last year's points, but I would lead to believe it's north of 24 or 30. They were putting up numbers every game. In that one Thursday night game when they played the Chiefs, and it was final score was 52-50 or something like that, or 51. Come on now. Getting back to this pick, I'm gonna have to go with Denver on this one. I don't even know who's playing quarterback.
I was thinking the same thing. I think Joe Flacco is gonna be decent.
Yeah, exactly.
You still got Emmanuel Sanders. I think Cortland Sutton's a decent wide receiver too.
Enough so, and I love that defense with Bradley Chubb and what's his face and Von Miller.
I think you need another big season out of Phillip Lindsay. I think he proved himself last year. You got him as a undrafted.
Undrafted, yeah.
And he showed you why he should have been drafted. I think if he has another big season, they might not win the division, but I think I think ultimately the Raiders are going to be in the basement of that division.
Oh,
I
easy.
just don't see AB fitting in well there. He hasn't yet.
Nope.
I haven't seen really any flashes from Derek Carr. Have a rookie running back in Josh Jacobs. There's just so many questions there. I think Gruden's there for 10 years, so he's kind of building his team up now. I don't think he's really in it
For
this season.
I agree. I can see him totally blowing up the squad in 2 years and trading everybody and their mother to get the players he wants and the team he wants to build with Mike Mayock. But that's yet to be seen. I think, I'm with you. I think the Oakland Raiders are going to be the blunder of the NFL this year. I think they're going to finish between 30 to 32. I don't quite see them even contesting for an AFC wildcard position.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. That's one of those. I guess we'll see. Josh Jacobs, I think, is going to be a great running back, but who knows? Maybe he gets traded in a year. Maybe he's the next Leonard Fournette, where he has a great rookie season. But
I need a stat check on this. I don't think any team that's been on Hard Knocks has ever made the playoffs that year.
Interesting.
Browns, Jets.
Well, they had the Rams 2 years ago. The Browns last year. Yeah,
So,
interesting. Yeah, very. You got that's all.
Maybe the Rams made the playoff that year.
We'll fact check that and bring that next week. Perfect. Well, Tiempo, I think it wraps up our first official podcast, episode 001.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure.
Also, while we were on the air, I got 3 texts that the Yankees hit 3 home runs in a row, so that's good. Keep it moving towards October. Let's get this World Series this year, please.
Please, we need it. So, once again, Sweets, Billy, Sono Entertainment, thank you so much for having us. Until next week, adios.
T-E-E-Todd!
Yeah.